on that slightly provocative note, I'd like to open it up to the floor for questions. We've got some very interesting thoughts that have just been put forward, and I would encourage you with any questions, please. We have mics, but it's kind of small. Yes, sir.
How important is waterfront development to tourism, especially if you're trying to revitalize an industry that maybe had a town that had a lot of industry on the waterfront? Do you have any examples of the types of things you can have on your waterfront if you want to turn it from an industrial area into something that would be interesting?
Anybody? Dr. Carson?
Yes. Well, I'll take that. I mean, it's not just waterfront for the sake of waterfront. It has to be something that people coming in would find especially attractive and desirable and want to do things on it. So if it's pristine waterfront like the Quetico Park slide that I showed, and the town is very, very close to it, then what it does with the tourism is that it develops the activities around the resource that it has. Now, if the waterfront has got a great big power generating station on it and it's going to remain there, then it depletes its value quite considerably. And it's not water per se. It's I mean, if you look at Banff, Banff is absolutely magnificent by virtue of the mountains. So it's what is there that can be worked with. But just having it isn't enough. You actually have to use the resources available to you to make something desirable that people want to come and see. And of course, Kingston is an international tourist destination.
Lauren, you had some comments?
Yeah, just on the waterfront. I mean, we work with many communities who have invested great amounts of money in their waterfront area to put trail systems in there, to provide public access through boat launch or marinas and the like. But even that level of investment isn't necessarily going to attract visitors to your waterfront. So I would echo. I think you need to be very careful in thinking through what your waterfront is intended to be. If it's part of part of the amenities of a community, part of that sense of place for that community, that's one thing. If you're investing it to attract visitors from outside, I think you need to think long and hard about the level of investment, because it has to be more of a focal point and a destination for people when they get there. The view is like going to, even Niagara Falls. If you look at the tourism stats for Niagara Falls and how long people stay in Niagara once they've seen the falls, they're in, they're out, and they go somewhere else. Because Niagara Falls, the city, I hope there's nobody here from Niagara Falls, but Niagara Falls, the city, really comes up short on the experience once you get beyond the Parks Commission. And the level of investment along the Niagara Parkway and the like is great, but it doesn't keep people in Niagara Falls. And it's, with all due respect, the experience in the city is Disney World compared to the pyramids. It's night and day. Sorry.
Yes.
I found Brett Rich's comments about Kingston very refreshing and very insulting. I'm on the board of the Kingston Economic Development Corporation, and of course we tend to think more highly of Kingston, and I'm wondering whether that is perhaps leading us into a beguiling over-investment. In other words, my hypothesis is from this that each community will over-invest in the things which it fantasizes will attract tourists. And how does one institutionalize sort of a cold shower?
Perhaps, Dr. Ritchie, would you care to?
I just take the easy questions.
Yeah.
So is this on? Is this live? Well, I mean, I think, as I say, because I'm from here, I have every weakness and every strength that you have, and I think I can say, in all honesty, I think Kingston, unless it really gets something, people like to go to attractive places, and the city itself, in all honesty, is not overly, it's not a bad place to live in. It's a nice place, not bad, but there's so many places in the world that people can go. They have only a limited amount of time. Where do you go when you have a limited amount? What kind of things do you want to see? That's what you have to ask yourself. If I was living in London or in Abu Dhabi or wherever, where would I spend the time? And would it be Kingston?
A question at the mic?
Actually, if I may, this is more of a clarification. My name is Peter Meyer. My firm is Quadra Consulting Group, and I led one of the 2 teams of consultants in Atikokan, and I've also done work in Elliott Lake. And I'd just like to provide a couple of clarifications for Dr. Carson regarding the 2 reports. The studies that were completed were based on the specific requests put out in the request for proposal. There were 2 studies. One was undertaken by a fellow named Patrick Reed, who at one time was the province's youngest MPP, went at age 23, I believe, from Fort Francis. He served in the legislature for 18 years. He went on to become president of the Ontario Mining Association and has since retired. He was asked by the Premier to act as business liaison between the community and Queen's Park, and a 14 Assistant Deputy Minister committee overseeing Atikokan. There was a second study that had to do with looking at some, but not all, possibilities for economic development at Atikokan and community revitalization. Anything relating to the Atikokan generating station was excluded from our mandate. We couldn't touch it, and we agree wholeheartedly. We did help them get the program that you are now involved with at that time, and we worked closely with the Atikokan Community Development Corporation. But just in terms of tourism in the area, I do a lot of work in very small communities in the north, some as small as 500 people. And most of them think tourism is going to be the solution. When they lose a mill, they lose everything that we say right up front. It isn't. It can help a little bit. It can allay some of the problems. But certainly, an example like the fishing derby, we said that's one small event that will bring a few people in. The real potential in Atikokan, its only potential in terms of tourism, is Quetico Park. The number of people going to Quetico Park who enter from the U.S. is about 10 times as great as the number of people entering Quetico Park from the northern side. They enter from the boundary waters of the U.S. We were just trying to find a way to draw more people into that area. So I think in general, the 2 mills that you were referring to, both were operational at the time. One, Sepulveda, was running quite well, was running 2 shifts a day, and the market was still fairly strong. Pro Board was a little uncertain, but the Community Development Corporation was working with them. So I just want to clarify that we were not saying tourism was the only solution, but they were, given what the province's mandate was for us to look at, we were somewhat limited as to what we could propose.
Thank you for that clarification. Actually, we left off the Kingston question before Brian had a chance to comment.
Yeah, I think there's, thinking back to actually Mayor Rosen's comments this morning and the importance of Kingston as being a regional leader, but recognizing the contributions of the broader area. And I think really on the tourism front, that rings true as well. I think, you think of Kingston maybe as the western gateway to the Thousand Islands region, and you're sitting right next to the Mirrigananakwe, and so he would certainly support, the attractive potential of the Thousand Islands piece. And of course, Kingston would also consider to be the southern gateway to the Rideau Canal as well. So I think a lot of thought needs to be given in terms of how the city of Kingston and the whole area actually collaborates on the tourism piece. Actually, one of the comments that sort of resonated with me today, Mark in his comments today referred to, he was talking about a beehive being the organism, and I thought, wow, that's kind of an interesting analogy for Eastern Ontario. If you think about it, it's not the bee, it's the beehive as the organism. And I think if we think about Eastern Ontario in that particular context, it's going to serve us well, whether it's on tourism or whether it's on the broader economic development front.
Lauren, you had one final thought?
Just very briefly, I mean, reflecting back on some of the comments that the ADM had made in terms of tourism travel and travel patterns in Ontario, if most of the tourists in Ontario come from Ontario, which is what he said,